How about them Cowboys?
Angry Cowboys fan, born to battle. Stop just means we never sell. America's team through thick and thin. When the star shines bright, that's when we win. Angry Cowboys fan.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys fan, hitting you with numero dos videos for today. And I swear, Cowboys Nation, Chad Ohco Cino over on Nightcap is doing the most. He's doing everything in his power to block George Pickens from a contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys. He's getting on his platform, screaming to the mountaintops about how Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys aren't going to give George Pickens the money that he deserves. He's on his platform talking and hoping that it gets back to the years of George Pickens and David Mulugeta. Why? Because if the Dallas Cowboys are successful, it takes a lot of talking points from the talking heads to bring up, because it ain't no fun if the Dallas Cowboys are winning. So we're going to take a listen to the 3 clips that I got for y'all. Then y'all know what we're going to do. We're going to come back and unpack this raw and uncut. And believe me, it's going to get raw this time. So, angry Cowboys fans, let's take a listen to the first clip from Chad Ohco Cino's cock blocking on Nightcap about the Dallas Cowboys trying to extend George Pickens.
And Dallas Cowboys fans, I'm sure most of you will be like, Ocho, go to hell, shut up. He's a Cowboy. Of course you want to be a Cowboy because you've seen what he can do with Dak, with CeeDee Lamb, and with that offense. But with the great understanding of being around the NFL for a very long time, understand how negotiations work, understanding how owners truly feel about you when you're not in those negotiating rooms, understand David Mulugeta is going to get exactly what he deserves and not a penny less. I just feel, based on Jerry Jones' track record, when it comes to paying players, especially one where you already have a number one, you're paying a receiver already as a number one, paying another number one whose true market value is number one money, which would overlap what CD is making.
Absolutely.
I just don't see it happening there in Dallas. So I see whatever deal they do get done, whatever deal they throw at David Mulugeta and George Pickens, is going to be extremely low and extremely disrespectful. And George just needs to let Dave handle everything, because I know Mr. Mulugeta is not playing. He's not going to play no games. So, I mean, listen, Cowboys fans, you know I've been nothing but gracious to y'all. I love y'all. I rarely speak bad on your team, but this is the situation where I need you to take your fandom out of it and understand what George Pickens' value truly is, and know that your owner and the way he conducts himself shows no signs of actually paying George Pickens what he's truly worth.
You're right, Chad Ohco Cino. We do want George Pickens to remain a Dallas Cowboy. We want him to continue the productivity that he's been producing in Dallas. We want him to continue to grow and continue to flourish under a top 10 quarterback in Dak Prescott. We also saw how life was when Pickens was catching passes from a subpar quarterback. Bro was unhappy, but Chad Ohco Cino wants him to be on a team that he'll be even more unhappy with. Come on, man. And another thing you were right about is David Mulugeta getting his money. But we'll talk about that more during the raw and uncut portion. But let's go ahead and get into the second clip, because I want to quickly get to said raw and uncut portion.
I don't know if he's going to have a choice. In order to not look, you can franchise him in hopes to get an extension, a long-term deal done, Ocho, 5 years, because he doesn't have any money on the contract anymore. It's not like you can add years and just do it like that. So you're going to have to give him somewhere 5 years. With that being said, he knows his value is the starting point, Ocho, is $35 million.
Absolutely.
Which is what Jetta got. That's the starting point, because Jetta did that deal 2-3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
So here we are, and the cap has gone up. So Jetta got a deal when the cap was probably $35, $40 million less than what it is now. With that being said,
yes,
you saw what I'm capable of doing. Now, I just want you to know now, I love it here in Dallas. It's great. Everybody's welcomed me with open arms. Everybody on the team, Jerry, you, Steven, and the family has been great to me. The fans have been amazing. But I want my money. I want what I've earned.
Of course, he should get everything that he deserves. He should get everything that he has earned. But that's what's going to happen, The Dallas Cowboys, they're going to franchise tag George Pickens if they can't come up with a complete number, if they can't get a deal done. Also, the funny thing is that Shannon Sharpe is advocating for more than what the market value is even calculating. According to Spotrac.com, George Pickens' market value is about $30 million per year. Where did this $35 million a year come from? This is something that the talking heads do a lot. They love to do it. They exaggerate a player's value when they know damn well only a desperate team is going to pay that type of money for a wide receiver. Not only that, the top contending teams already have a wide receiver one. So Pickens is going to be in the same situation he's in playing in Dallas where he would with another team. I tell you, Cowboys Nation, the cock blocking is real in this situation. Now let's go ahead and jump into the third clip so we can come back and unpack this raw and uncut.
Let me clear it up for you in my terms. George Pickens can't get his true value in Dallas when you already have a number one receiver. Therefore, I prefer him to be able to hit the open market and get his true value somewhere else and actually have his own team and be a number one elsewhere. Understanding and knowing the game that Jerry's going to play. If you understand the business and you see how that specific owner has always worked when it came to playing players, that's all I'm saying. It should make clear sense. I can't break it down any simpler than what I just did. He's going to play games when it comes time to paying George Pickens. He is. He was playing games with the... Never mind, don't worry about it. But y'all understand what I mean.
Nah, we're not going to worry about it because we know where you're going at it. We know that you're going to the whole Micah Parsons situation, but at the same time, Dak Prescott got paid. DeMarcus Lawrence got paid. CeeDee Lamb got paid. Zach Martin got paid. All the top players, except for the example that you didn't want to get into, got paid. But let's go ahead and skip the build-up, shall we? Y'all ready for this raw and uncut? Y'all ready? Let's get it. Get ready for the angry Cowboys fans, raw and uncut.
I'm keeping it real. They keep it real. That's real.
Cowboys Nation, I have never, in my time of being a fan of the NFL, I have never seen someone fight so hard for a player to not be signed by the Dallas Cowboys. From my recollection, Ocho didn't advocate this hard for CeeDee Lamb. He didn't advocate this hard for Micah Parsons. He damn sure didn't advocate this hard for Dak Prescott. Why is he advocating so hard for George Pickens? Is it because he feels that he can relate to George Pickens because he's a wide receiver? Is it the fact that he feels George Pickens is impressionable and he'll just listen to him? Whatever it is, Cowboys Nation, it's getting old and it's giving a player the wrong type of advice. Let's go ahead and keep it a buck though, Cowboys Nation. Ocho's talking about allowing Pickens to go to a team where he can be the wide receiver one. My question is this. What team is he going to where he can have the wide receiver one role where there's no wide receiver one already? He can't go to the Buffalo Bills because they have a wide receiver one. You can't go to the Kansas City Chiefs because they already have a wide receiver one. You know what, Cowboys Nation? Let's go ahead and go over the list of teams that have a bona fide wide receiver one. The Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Minnesota Vikings, New York Giants, Arizona Cardinals, Green Bay Packers, New York Jets, Houston Texans. He's not going to go back to Pittsburgh, so you can scratch that right off the list. Chicago Bears, Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers, while they still have Brandon Ayuk. Jacksonville Jaguars, Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Bucks until Mike Evans retires. The Detroit Lions, New England Patriots, Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins unless they move on from Tyreek Hill, Los Angeles Rams, Philadelphia Eagles unless A.J. Brown leaves, and the teams that Chad Ochocinco really wants Pickens to go to is the Cincinnati Bengals, where they have a dominant wide receiver one in Jamar Chase. Other than those teams, he may have a chance at going in and taking the current wide receiver 1 position with the Los Angeles Chargers, the Indianapolis Colts, the Atlanta Falcons, Tennessee Titans. He'd have to compete with Calvin Ridley on that team, Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, Cleveland Browns, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Washington Commanders. So tell me, Chad Ochocinco, where do you see George Pickens going where he can have the wide receiver 1 role all to himself? But Shannon Sharpe said that he would command something north of $35 million. What contending team is going to pay that much, especially when they have a bona fide wide receiver 1? Do you really think that he's going to want to go to a team with a shaky quarterback at the quarterback position and end up like he was in Pittsburgh? That cuts out teams like the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Carolina Panthers. But let's go ahead and keep it a buck, though. Chad Ochocinco doesn't want George Pickens to get extended by the Dallas Cowboys for a couple of reasons. First, he doesn't want him signing with the Dallas Cowboys because if the Cowboys were to win a championship with George Pickens, the talking heads wouldn't have shit to talk about when it pertains to the Dallas Cowboys other than the fact that they're winners. They wouldn't be able to report on the 30-year drought anymore. They wouldn't be able to diss the Dallas Cowboys like they always have. They would have to find another way to try and pay the light bill instead of dissing the Dallas Cowboys. But Chad Ochocinco has already gone on record saying that he wants the Las Vegas Raiders to acquire George Pickens this offseason. So what are we really shooting for, Chad Ochocinco? Are we shooting to place George Pickens in the same scenario that he was in while playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers? A team that there was no quarterback to get him the ball? Well, at least he'd have the wide receiver 1 title, right? At least he'd be getting his money, right, Chad? Forget the fact of his mental health when they have a top 5 draft pick every single year. At least he'll be making his bread, right? Not to mention being forgotten about when his team never makes the playoffs. But why is it that Chad Ochocinco talks as if an NFL team can't have 2 dogs at the wide receiver position? Let's not act as if the top teams in the league only have 1 top wide receiver. The team that you played for has one of the best wide receiver duos in the league, but when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, I guess we can't have that, right? And I don't understand for the life of me why the Dallas Cowboys continue to get cock-blocked the way they do by the talking heads in the media. That episode of Nightcap was super weird on all levels. The way that Chad Ochocinco was advocating for George Pickens, and only George Pickens, is super weird on all levels. I haven't heard him talk this way about A.J. Brown, who is visibly unhappy in Philadelphia, but he feels like he has to come to George Pickens' rescue, I guess. Then he spoke about how David Mulugeta is George Pickens' agent, and he tiptoed around the fact that Jerry Jones didn't pay Micah Parsons, who has the same agent. Well, I would hope that George Pickens wouldn't go around the media saying that there's no difference between $30 and $40 million. I would hope that George Pickens wouldn't start negotiations with Jerry Jones without his agent present. I would hope that George Pickens would be worried about playing for an organization that's historic and has somewhat of a chance of making it to the playoffs a little bit more often than not. Yes, we didn't make it to the playoffs the last 2 years, but guess when the Raiders made it to the playoffs last? 2021. Almost 5 years without a playoff appearance, but this is the team that Chad Ochocinco wants George Pickens to go to. Guess when the last time they actually won a playoff game? 2002 to 2003. You know, I pray that George Pickens doesn't listen to Ochocinco. As much as he says that he has George Pickens' best interest at heart, does going to the Las Vegas Raiders scream contender more than staying with the Dallas Cowboys? Sure, both Texas and Nevada have no state tax, so Jerry can't use that as a negotiation tactic, but the likelihood of Pickens having a profitable life after football playing for the Raiders is slim to none. Also, speaking of David Mulugeta, Pickens, don't allow your agent to dictate where you end up. Even if you don't end up signing with the Dallas Cowboys, don't allow your agent to dictate your destination just because he gets a bigger bag because of the bigger bag that you signed for. This is where I feel that Micah Parsons went wrong. He got him all those commas on his check, but also takes a lot of commas from his check. This is the reason why I feel that agents want these players to sign for a significant amount of money, to sign for the biggest deal possible, even when it's to the player's detriment, Cowboys Nation. This is why you saw T. Higgins fire David Mulugeta. They act like your best friend, but has your best interest secondary. Getting themselves paid? That's the primary goal. So Pickens, you're going to have a lot of people just pocket watching you in the upcoming weeks. People that have absolutely no business in pocket watching you. At the end of the day, you do what's best for you. If it's staying with the Dallas Cowboys, then it is staying with the Dallas Cowboys. Don't let Jerry rake you over the coals, but don't go out chasing the bigger bag, the biggest amount, because it will only lead to you being unhappy with a team that you truly don't want to play for. There's a bright future for you in the NFL. You know this. You are a talented dude. You are an immensely talented dude. And of course, I want you to remain with the Dallas Cowboys to help us achieve a Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, I also want you to be happy where you're at. What's that old saying? Money can't buy you happiness? Sure, you can sign with the highest bidder, but will you truly be fulfilled? You can listen to Chad Ocho Cinco all you want, but will that get you closer to where you want to be? And at the end of the day, listen to yourself. Remember that your agent works for you. He's not your best friend. He's in it to advise you when it comes to contract language, but he's also in it for himself. He's in it to get himself paid. Instead of listening to Chad Ocho Cinco, talk to T. Higgins. See why he fired David Mulugheta during his contract negotiations. Talk to Dak Prescott, a player that has gotten paid by Jerry Jones. Also, look at Micah Parsons' demeanor, because if he truly wanted to be in Green Bay, he wouldn't have been hanging around Dallas Cowboys players throughout the 2026 Pro Bowl. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys fan. Cowboys Nation, I know this George Pickens situation is being discussed ad nauseum. But what do you feel about what Chad Ocho Cinco had to say about George Pickens? Do you want him to get his nose out of the negotiations between Jerry Jones and Pickens? What do you feel about what Chad Ocho Cinco had to say during Nightcap? Y'all know how we do. We always talk about it in the comments section. If you're digging this content and you want to help the channel reach its current goal of 20,000 subscribers, drop a like on this video, share the content with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and if you're on your mobile device, make sure you hype this video. Doing so will help get this content out to even more Dallas Cowboys, and we can represent our Dallas Cowboys together. And if you are DC for life and you just wish that Chad Ocho Cinco would stop cock blocking the Dallas Cowboys, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, or film breakdowns. You can catch the Madden 26 or College Football 26 gameplay on the new channel, the Angry Cowboys Fan Gaming Channel. I will put the link to that in the description. And I have nothing against Chad Ocho Cinco or Shannon Sharpe. I loved the fact when they played in the NFL. I loved watching them. When Shannon Sharpe played for the Denver Broncos and when Chad Ocho Cinco played for the Cincinnati Bengals, they were exciting to watch. But damn, you got to get your nose out of the business. I believe that their podcast is super entertaining and they have a lot of knowledge to bring to the masses when it comes to the inside of the NFL. But when you start going out of your way to hurt my team's chances at winning a Super Bowl, then that's when it's going to become an issue, Cowboys Nation. Stop trying to manipulate this young man by flashing dollar signs in his face and start talking about the best fit for him. Because we all know that the Las Vegas Raiders would be just another sequel to his time as a Pittsburgh Steeler. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan Podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.